here frequently, you know that the Hot Zone is a talk show where we feature a team of panelists from different political institutions, different political persuasions.
Free land of liberty. You want
to speak on the issue? I beg you, please. Let's stick on the issue.
For our politics. Politicians deliver to their
The big government is not a solution to the problem.
Let me say this. I hear somebody saying, well, the country don't get money. Look, every country in this world that God has created on this earth has money. It depends on how the leader is innovative.
Not good judgment. Okay, to be commingling, to be meandering with a man who has recently been found guilty of committing a serious crime, right? You can appreciate him all you want, but it sends the wrong message. That
you can also Joseph, brother Peter, let me talk. Let me talk.
We do not have strong drug laws on our books.
If I gave you my district, what you want to? You want my
Motherfuckers will come and tell you to vote for one person when the person get it, and they tell you say the person not good. All of them confused.
Yeah, I'm getting younger because we are empowered now. And when you empower, it comes with setting grades.
They come me with their fake smile. All I think and I so fly. They won't use you, confuse you, and mislead you. They will promise when you vote them, they frustrate you. They already say you so go. Don't for your friend, let them move. They already say you rebel. Don't for your friends for their choice. Oh. They already say you so go. Don't for your friend, let them move.
Tonight, I'm playing host. My name is Derek Yale, and let me check in with my co-host, Mr. David Takbe. Mr. Takbe, welcome to another episode.
So Derek, thank you. It's always good to be on the Hot Zone.
Brother, vote for your future. Mama, vote for your future. What thing you want to? If I gave you my future, what you want to?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Liberia Radio and Television Network. And if this is your first time joining us, let me welcome you here to this network. And this is LRTN, or the Liberia Radio and Television Network. And just by way of introduction, the LRTN is a local media institution right here in Northeast Philadelphia. And we have our office open in Liberia for business as well. But you can make sure to check us out on Facebook, the Liberia Radio and Television Network, on YouTube. Same, and also check us out on our website where we bring our content from a lot of different sources. It's lrtn.net. Tonight, LRTN is proud to present another edition of the Hot Zone, episode 5 of season 6. And by way of introduction, again, the Hot Zone is an opinion-based talk show where we feature a team of panelists from different political institutions, different political persuasions. And here on the Hot Zone, we try to discuss issues in Liberia, socioeconomic issues or political issues, and you name it. And by way of disclaimer, all of the positions and opinions offered on this network and this podcast tonight is not the official position of the network, but that of the panelists that will be offering them. With that being said, let me urge all of you to follow us and make sure you're sharing this program on your individual social media pages. We're live on Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. So if you're joining us on any one of those platforms, make sure you're sharing the program. Make sure you're participating and engaging the program as well. We came on very late, so we will skip other parts of the show tonight and get into our main discussion. But just to give you a heads up on what to expect on this episode, we usually will have our current events, but tonight, since we're coming on late, we will skip that and have our panelists here, and then we will do open panel discussions and on issues in Liberia, and just pick the panelists' mind and see what interests them this week in Liberia. But before I welcome our panelists for this episode to the screen, let me ask all of you again watching us to please share this program and also make sure you're following this network. With that being said, let me call on our panelists set up for tonight's episode, and we will get right into business. I have tonight Mr. Martin Boda, Mr. Joel Dennis, Bishop Reeves, Bishop Hagar, and Mr. Ja Winkin Weah. I'd like to start with Mr. Boda. Welcome to episode 5 of season 6 of the Hard Zone.
Hello, panelists. Good evening, and I hope all is well. And let's get into discussion. We'll talk about Liberia.
And other country too. But thank you very much, Mr. Boda. Mr. Dennis, welcome to the Hard Zone, another episode.
Thank you, fellow panelists. Good to see you guys. I know it's been a while. Missing some faces here today. So hopefully we'll have a good show tonight, and we'll learn from one another. Good to see everybody again. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bishop Reeves, let's hear from you. Welcome.
It's good to always be here. We have great expectations for tonight, so it's good to be here. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ja Winkin Weah.
Okay, thank you, Derek. Thank you, everybody. We are back again to talk about Liberia. Liberia is the only place we have. So if you are listening, please contribute to what we're going to discuss today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bishop Hagar, welcome.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you to all the panelists. We are excited, very excited to come on this place, on the platform, to change ideas all about the betterment of Liberia. For me, I stand for peaceful and prosperous Liberia. That's where I stand. Thank you.
Thank you. And not to pick on you, Bishop Hagar. You used the word excited, but you don't look excited. I see Bishop Reeves here smiling, Mr. Weah smiling. What's the issue? You just live back. So what's the excitement? What are you excited about this week, Bishop Hagar?
I'm excited about. I'm alive. I give God the glory for that. That is something that you always have to be excited about.
Okay. You're right about that.
Thank God for that.
In the political arena, let me put it like that. Let me quantify my question. What are you excited about in the political arena? I know you saw.
Well, I'm very much an excited man. This president being old, we can't deny that Joseph Boakai is in his 80s and his energy level is low, but despite that, he's making a lot of good, very, very important, significant move for the betterment of Liberia. I guarantee you, with all the critics in the next couple of years, you're really going to see some significant changes in our country infrastructure, in our management of our resources, and in our governing process. Because I know Joseph Yuma Boakai want to leave a legacy that the unborn generation will talk about one of the best presidents in Liberian history.
That would be Boakai, I'm guessing. Well, let's now, Mr. Boda. Let me come to you. Give you 2 minutes. Tell us what interests you in politics this week. What do you?
I will be going off, coming back because my internet in my office is not where I got to go in the conference room.
Is that Boakai internet?
All right, yeah.
Let's hear from you, Mr. Boda.
Well, I mean, I was impressed with. I think we're getting to get some feedback on the audit report, and the GAC. I mean, the GAC reported on the EPA operation money that was spent. So I think that was good news for me. Getting to hear about some of the audit that the president had mandated to be done. Well, important to know that there's some work being done and we're getting somewhere at this point. So it's important. Those are information we want to hear coming from Liberia on the audit issue.
Why is that important to you, Mr. Boda?
I think the LeBron people need to understand how some of that money was being spent and the resources are being managed. So that's important to note because we need the money. That will give a little understanding of how government is operating. And there was also another news on the Chief Justice trial, how money have been spent and how she misappropriating fund or misapplying the law as the chief architect of our law. So those are important information coming out of Liberia that we need to know.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I will come back to you on questions around it auditing. So let me hear from Mr. Dennis first.
Who? I'm sorry. Who'd you say? Me?
Yes, Mr. Dennis.
Oh,
Go ahead.
I guess some of the things that interest me right now is the rainy season. We have all this water problem in Liberia. I think those things need to be addressed. I think every year we have the same issues over and over, and each government come and they waste their time, money, and resources on other projects. I think with this situation where Liberia is practically looking like they're going to have to take a canoe to work now. I think this stuff has to be fixed because next year it's not going to get any better. The other thing of interest to me was the ruling in the Supreme Court with Gloria Musu-Scott. After listening to the arguments in the Supreme Court, it seems like the prosecution was very negligent in charging 3 people with committing a single crime. So it's listening to them, it's pretty laughable that even the jury heard that and still found her guilty for murder rather than them charging her with conspiracy to commit murder. So those are some of the things that I was paying attention to this week, and as well as the audit. So I'm interested in hearing more about the audit of the former government officials. So I'll be waiting to hear more. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dennis. That's a very, very interesting pick. I would like to ask a question on that actually because I did follow that conversation as well. But let's hear from you now, Bishop Reeves.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you properly.
We're just having an open panel discussion, so I was starting off with just asking each panelist for what interests them this week in Liberia politics. If you want to take it to the diaspora, you're free to do that. But I was just trying to have an open panel discussion. If you want to go to we are coming to you.
You can just go ahead because I'm just watching and see what's going on.
You didn't follow Liberia politics this week, did you?
I mean, I listen, but there's nothing I want to comment on right now.
The main Liberia will not follow politics.
Yes, just boring you that nothing pique your interest anymore. Is that what you're saying?
No. I mean, there are a lot of different things, but right now, there's nothing.
Oh, the reason I'm asking that Mr. Boda earlier expressed similar concerns, though, so I thought that it was the same thing for you.
No, it's not the same thing.
Let's get from you, Mr.
Please is coming, so the bishop please coming. Bring her accusing already, so he's trying to escape that.
For me, I have been interested. My interest has been I wanted to see difference in terms of functions of, like, for example, opinions on the code, driver license, or certificate. Because in these documents have been a nightmare from previous government. So I was wondering whether there going to be a difference in terms of how to acquire them, how to go about them. So I talked to a few friends at the foreign ministry. There is no difference. People still go to the foreign ministry as early as 5 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the morning to just wait and get a passport. The same thing with getting a driver license. You got to know someone. The same thing with getting birth certificate. Nothing has really changed. These are very, very basic rights of the Liberian people. The people in power, they should recognize that they are not doing a favor to the Liberian people. It is a mongrel for people, someone to go for a passport in Liberia, to go there as early in the morning at 4 a.m. or to wait all this stuff. I'm very, very concerned, but hoping that this government will try to do something about it. They should put in place a better system that will improve acquiring these documents for our people.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jawin. Yeah, let me stay with you though. You say you're hoping on the system. Do you have any like hope or faith that the system will improve? What do you think this administration will do? Do you think President Waka will or has it in him to do something about that?
Oh yeah, so like for example, like if you were to go to the foreign ministry for your passport, by the time you arrive on the ground, somebody will come around wanting to know what you want to do. If you give them money to do that, then they got a big flower hut where people sit for hours waiting. People go there early in the morning. So I thought it was punishing the Liberian people to go and sit for a long time, go there 3 a.m. in the morning, this and that, just to go for passport, especially in this rainy season. I was hoping that this Braga government and the current foreign minister, with the expectation people had, she would put in place a system where at least maybe, I don't know, things can be a little bit decentralized. Maybe people can register somewhere, people can pay the money somewhere, something, but it is inconceivable for people just to get a passport. The bishop in Monrovia, maybe he can help me. Maybe when he visits, when you see the people, just to get a passport, you gotta go there. This was not established by, or it was not brought about by the Bwaka government. It has been happening consistently. Where Liberian people go to the foreign ministry, they will sit. People will even cause them and talk to them as though they are begging. So it's mongering. That's what. So I thought there would have been a system to reduce that punishment for our people.
Thank you, Bishop Reese. Would you like to weigh in on that conversation?
I mean, like any other place you go, people will have to sit and wait for those kind of documents. You have a huge crowd of people that go there in the morning, and all the people that you see going to the foreign ministry during the day, all of them may not have the same case, may not have the same issue. Some of them may have started their process the day before or something like that. So of course you have a huge number of people there. At least they have a place for them to sit and wait for their time. So I wouldn't say that they don't have a system, but they do have a system at the foreign ministry, and you have to fill forms. There are different things that you have to do. So yes, they will have a wait time, but like anywhere in the world, there are things that you go for, you have to wait. Do we have to improve our system in other ways? Yes, we do. My desire is to see Liberia become digitized. So when we digitize our system in Liberia, there are a lot of other things that will change. A lot of things will change, from the financial sector to whatever sector. As long as we can digitize our system, it'll be way helpful. But for now, we will just have to wait for our time when it comes to the passports.
Let me weigh in on that if you don't mind. I had that experience in Liberia. I went to get my passport, and even though I knew I probably could pull some strings, maybe, and get to the front of the line, I decided to sit in that line. I sat there for hours, but it wasn't too bad. But let me say this: in America, when you apply for passport, come on, if you apply for your passport right now, there's a lot of stuff going on in the background. But it takes 3 months sometimes even longer. When my passport expired a few years ago, it took almost, when Trump was in power, it took me almost 6 months to get that passport back. But let's face it, man, in Liberia, you spend 3 hours in line, you're leaving that day with your passport. So there is some kind of system there. There is some kind of system, albeit not a very good system, but it's a decent system. Can it be worked on? Absolutely. Is there a lot of corruption there?
Yeah.
Yes, it is. But that's the greed of the Liberian people. This is a place where they tell you got to go in and dress up with a coat suit, and then you look at the whole building. The building is dilapidated. You wonder why do I need to wear a coat suit in this building? You know, so these are all the weird things that they do in this country.
But here, I'm not talking about specifically a time frame, maybe, but if you were there's a big place people sit down, right? People go. I'm talking about people go as early as 3 a.m. Just think about that, man.
Yes.
Okay. If you live Kakata, if you live somewhere, people go as early as that time. They sit on the bench. I went there before, I saw that. And sometimes, if I get it, somebody know me, people can bypass circumstances. What is painful, be sure you can visit and see the way the guy who gave the document, the way he talks to the people, is very aggressive, abusive, something like that. You know, that's what I mean. They should recognize that they are serving the Liberian people. Okay, I'm not saying this was brought about by the Boakai government. All right, but because I understand that we don't have that system, but they should make it in a way that, okay, there was a lady that I met too. I think that was 5th time leaving in the morning to go. They will go come back every day. If there is a system here in America, you can do it online. You don't have to go to any office. You can do it online. It may take you time, but at least you know, or you can pay for expedited fee. But what I'm saying is that we got only one centralized area. Not only the passport alone, the same thing with driver license. Like right now, if you got money, you can sit down in a restaurant. Somebody can bring the driver license without doing anything. But what I'm saying is that I expect this government to put in place a system so that people will be better served. That's what I'm saying. I know it will take a time, but at least of that level of weight, that level of it's a sovereignty to the Liberian people. Can we a little bit decentralize that? Probably you fill in a form or you pay the money on this side, then you go to the foreign ministry. I mean, it's painful. I mean, if you have not gone there, some people went to that place whole week, 7 days. I mean, 5 days in a week. They will go there in the morning. Just watch out and see what I'm talking about. I will hope that our current government will do something about these things. Not only a passport, the same thing with driver license, the same thing with birth certificate. It's a hard process. People who are in charge, they behave as though they are doing you a favor. That's the painful part about that.
Thank you.
Okay, Mr. Weah, excuse me, I need to say something. Mr. Weah, I do agree with you when it comes to the fact that we need to improve our system. I agree. But there are a couple of things that I disagree with. Number one, nobody is questioning the American embassy. People go to the American embassy for visa. They will sit in the line, in the queue, under the rain from 3 a.m. in the morning. They will go there and sit there for long hours just to be able to get in, to get a form to fill out. I don't see anybody criticizing that. Okay? Now, if you look at the passport section of Liberia right now, it has greatly improved. They have a place where you go to sit. Now, may I remind you that because of the level of education that we have in our country, and I will be the first person to tell you that you have more half-educated people in our country than you have the educated or the uneducated. And they're in the majority. You go to the foreign ministry, they have a procedure. They give you a form to read. A lot of them will go and what they're supposed to bring. You have to bring your passport size pictures. You have to bring your birth certificate. You have to bring, or you have to bring 2 forms of ID: your birth certificate or your national ID card or your voter's. They need these documentation from you. People will go there. They will sit in the line for a long time, and the form is there. They wouldn't read it. Then after when it's their turn, after they've sat there for 3-4 hours, then they come to the desk and the man say, okay, do you have this? Do you have this? No, I don't have this. I don't have that. I don't have that. Oh, I have this. Then they will have to go back and then come back again. All right, sit down for another. So our people need to learn how to read and follow instructions. I'm speaking specifically to the foreign ministry when you go for passports. Okay? I can speak to the passports and I can speak to the birth certificate. I can't speak to the driver's license. No. That it need overhauling, and I don't know whatever English to use when it comes to driver's license. I put a big X to it. But when it comes to the passport and the birth certificate, they do have a system. And then the national ID. Well, we can that's for a discussion. When you talk about decentralization, that's for a discussion, and I agree with you. All right. But when it comes to the system for getting your passport, they have improved on that greatly, and people just follow the instruction and they will be able to get your passport. And the same thing with the birth certificate. But the driver's license, no, we need a whole lot of overhauling to deal with driver's license. But for the time you sit down and wait for your passport, and the time you sit down and wait for your driver's license, not driver's license, birth certificate, is not so bad.
Thank you very much, Bishop Reese. Now, I don't know if you'd like to weigh in on this, Bishop Hagar. Let me give you the opportunity to do so.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Weir. I see your passion for Liberia, and I really would love you to do some research as we bring out the conversation, because there was an act that was created during the Ellen regime, the Decentralization Act, and you say the records are there putting millions of dollars. There is no county in Liberia where UC did not build at the local government level. To our town hall and in the hospital, government hospital, where they put equipment, computer. The problem Liberia had that was identified was our vital statistic. We don't have digital format. So UC put in $17 million and they put facility all over. But here is the problem. Most of the facility, those equipment are down. Our people are not exploiting it. We have in Liberia a mindset. I don't know when that mindset will be changed. If you don't come to Monrovia in your mind, nothing is done. But I know people who sat in Nimba and went through the process and got passport. They can go through the process. It's there. We must make use of it. I can vet you. Go. It is there. It was an act created. If you go there, there's a place there where you can fill in your document. The second thing there is this. And we got to educate our people. Somebody is supposed to travel in August. I had that experience with somebody in Liberia. I will not call their name. It was 2 weeks before their interview. I asked the person, do you have passport? Oh, I didn't get my passport here. Can you imagine? You knew in 1 year you're supposed to travel 2 weeks, and yet the person going to the foreign ministry there through all day and night begging, and the process is there. You got to fill the form, you got to go through all the things. They want to take the shortcut. They want to call somebody on the side. Instead of paying the $23 or $50 or $30, $35, they want to tell somebody on the side and say, please help me. I beg you, take $100. They encourage this thing. If we are organized as a nation, if we have, when I got my passport, Mary Bro was there as the passport director. Every morning, that one will come us and tell us, you people that came for passport is $23. If any of my people ask you for money on the side, you take their paycheck, come to me, will dismiss them. But Liberian people will still go to the people hustle and begging them, I beg you, just please $100, I need my passport. Even though they're supposed to travel, they knew they're supposed to travel, but they never got ready to do their passport until 2 days of the traveling time. When can we change as a nation?
So,
our country is not bad off. There are people, there are countries in Nigeria who will take you a whole year before you get your passport. I think Liberia is doing well, and we can see everything negative. Thank you very much.
well, let me see something.
But let me add to that thing that you just said in terms of the passport. The passport is $23, but if you need they call it a fast service. If you need what's the name of it?
Express.
If you need it to be expedited, it's $80, and you will either get it in the same day or you get it the next day. Go to any country to try to get passport and see if you will be able to get that the same day or the next day. If you pay $80 to expedite it, that's what, and they're very good at doing that.
Let me just say something.
Mr. William, before you come in, let's hear from Mr. Porter. I'm sorry. Let's hear.
I think, like we said, I mean, we know there's some problem with our system, a lot of things that we have problem with, but our people create some of the bottleneck for themselves. We are very impatient people, and we don't want to follow procedures. And we create all of the bottleneck on the system, and then we complain that and so forth. And like Joel really said, America here, I was trying to get back to Liberia. My passport has expired. I had to pay $250. And the only reason because I was going on a dev, I was trying for dev purposes. So I had to pay $250 to get a same day passport to go to custom. Other than that, you're not even getting passport within, it's about 2-3 months before you get passport. He just said for 6 months. But if Liberia, you tell a man, go come back in 3 months time for your passport, the people, it's something. So, I mean, we got to be patient. I know Liberia, we talk about Liberia, a lot of things, but I think there are some things that they're working on, and we need to appreciate it sometimes. The government is trying their best in some area. Birth certificate, people, I mean, everything that we need on an urgent basis, when it's 2 weeks, we wait for the last minute of time, like everybody said, and we have to stop. I think the system, they say how to let the system work. And that's the only problem that I got with the system, because they're not allowing their own rule to work for them. If you say 3 months, 3 months come for your passport. But people want to go the next day, get a phone, they're willing to get passport tomorrow. I don't think it's applicable. But again, the system has to be worked. They got to allow the system to work, but they're not allowing it to work. That's why people are complaining of them. The system is there, but we're not allowing it to work.
Yeah, thank you. Let's hear from you, Mr. Jawon Kinwuya.
Okay, yeah. So I want to clarify a few things here. Bishop Hagar, I know there was about that law that was passed about the decentralization. Passing it on the books and implementing it are two different things. I know everybody will say, what I want to make clear is that Liberia is the oldest independent country in Africa. The hope was that the rest of Africa was going to learn from us. And what I don't like in my own personal life as well is that because somebody is bad, so you need to be bad. No. We are supposed to be a service-oriented country for our people. What I am saying, I am not blaming only the government, but I am saying, what can this government do to improve these services? Does it require our people to be educated so that this is what we need to do to avoid waiting? What I was saying is, I was not only blaming the government, no matter where the area is, where is the malfunction is, how can we be very effective? For example, if there is a system that is functioning in Negrotown, for example, they say you can pay them or do this in Negrotown. well, do this, you will get this. I just give you an example of the Newtown because from Newtown. So I should say Newtown, yeah. So you can live in Maryland, for example, especially the we got a road system. If you want to travel, you got to pass through Africa Coast, you got to do this. So if we have something in place, the international community is going to help us, but we have to take responsibility of maintaining these things as well.
Thank you.
That's so we cannot give excuses when we are failing.
Can I make a point?
Can I say something quickly to
make a point?
Yeah, to a point.
Bishop Hagan, let me hear from Dennis, and then I'll come to you with a question.
Thank you. Okay.
So, I mean, Mr. We had say we. I hope he's including himself in the we. Because,
yes, I am.
Okay. Yeah, let me just say this because you mentioned that Liberia, there was this hope at some point in our history where we were supposed to be this beacon of civilization and progress. But you can't have a war for almost 30 years. 600,000 people left the country that have not come back, by the way. 3 generations of children didn't even go to school. We have those types of problems. We have major competing priorities: education, healthcare. So these things can't be solved if you and me are sitting in America and not working in the Foreign Affairs Ministry. We have to be there. We have to be that change that we want to see, as somebody once great said. So as long as we're here, it's not going to happen. You don't expect that to happen over there. And what you're talking about is a cultural issue. It's not even systemic. Even you can have all the system in place. Once the culture is trying to solve a problem in a different way, which is the Liberian way, that's the way it gets solved. This problem here, look, I got Western Union, I got money in Western Union one day in Liberia, and I refuse to ever go back. When I went to the Western Union place, I saw maybe 2,000 people just sitting there. They have been there all day. And even when you get there, the person behind the Western Union, they're having conversations with right behind there, talking to each other. Oh, girl. I mean, that's the kind of thing you don't see here. So that
on the phone.
Yeah, where you want, So those are kind of things. Those are cultural issues.
Okay. Customer service is bad.
Thank you.
That is not systemic.
Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Dennis. Let me come to you, Bishop Hagan. I know you had a point. You wanted to say something, but let me ask you this question though, because again, before I ask the question, let me say this: we don't necessarily have to make everything political. This is a good conversation where we can look at a particular sector and see the system there, and kind of constructively criticize the system for the sole purpose for it to be improved. But I listened to all of you panelists. Mr. Jai Wingen, we has some issues with the system there. Bishop Reeves said it has something to do with that. I'm not quoting you for Britain, but he says around people cannot read, and that contribute to some of the issues there. Bishop Hagan, if I could correct me if I'm wrong here, you're saying there was an act passed, and you're saying Liberian people love to cut corners and stuff like that. That's kind of why the problems exist. And then, Mr. Boda, you said the government doing well and the Liberian people. So pretty much, 3 of you panelists put this problem to put it on the Liberian people. And my question here, Bishop Hagan, because when we do that, we kind of get blinded to what Mr. Jai Wingen is pointing out on how the system can improve. Now, if this system you guys are talking about, the Foreign Affairs Ministry, is so good, how come it can't help curtail the issues of people not being able to read and successfully applying for the passport or what have you, be dealing with people cutting corners? Because guess what? In other countries, you don't see that. You go to apply for passport here, you don't see people cutting corners. I don't care who they are. They send online and go for the passport. Even if they cannot read, they have people there that will be able to help them. They have a system that will make things simple. They use pictures, they use stuff like that. So if Mr. Jai Wingen is talking about the system at the Foreign Affairs Ministry, and instead of us focusing on the issues, we try to cover up the issues and kind of put it on the people. Mr. Bishop Hagan, do you think that is a fair way to go about it? Do you think that a way to help the system, whether it's at the Foreign Affairs Ministry or whatever sector in Liberia, do you think that's the way to go about it and kind of put it on the people that are using the system instead of having the system improve itself?
Thank you. Listen, we identify the problem. I'm not saying that we should blame the Liberian people. I hear my friend and brother, we are all the time, I see his passion for the system to get better in Liberia. My concern is that every nation in the world never got the system they got overnight. How did the system in America improve? The citizens challenged what they had, and they took responsibility for the system to be changed. I work in the human services as a supervisor for a facility. Do you know that many years ago in America, when people with disability were abused, they were treated like trash? It took an investigative journalist to go and record what was taking place. And that whole thing blew out of proportion. Government, lawyers, and everybody had to come together. Now you can't even touch anybody with disability. If that journalist have not done his work to expose what was happening, it was the status quo in America. Our system will not change overnight. We have to challenge the system. Just 2 days ago, somebody died in one of the hospitals in Liberia. Why? Because the nurse and the doctor said the person must pay money before they treat them. And I was so angry when I got that new Reverend Bishop Reed. I said, yes, you have videotape. Let's sue that hospital. Let's take them to court. Oh, nothing will happen. Nothing will happen. The judge will not do anything. If doctors and lawyers go to jail in Liberia, and hospitals are being penalized for neglecting treating people, the system will not change. So we accept it. Our people accept it. And if our people accept it, nothing going to change. No country in the world changed because the government decided to do it right. It was the people who said, no, this thing, we don't deserve the kind of services. Go to the foreign ministry. If the past possession, you find a problem there, don't do a video recording. Take it to get a lawyer and let's challenge the system, see if improvement will not take place. Thirdly, I want to make mention about Liberia. Brother Dennis, please help me. A country, and I see this, Derek will say so many things, but look at a nation of 5.4 million people, but have a budget of 840 million. Honestly, looking at Liberia, what can $840 million do to change the life of the people? Absolutely not. Philadelphia, the city of Philadelphia runs a $4 billion budget every year. $1 billion is the budget for Philadelphia School District and New York School District. Just 2 school districts in America have $1 billion budget. A whole nation, if you talk to somebody, say, what is the annual budget for your country? 800 million. They will say you're joking over there. We don't have the resources. We don't have it. That country is in a bad shape, and social services cannot be provided. If Manchester United get $1 billion budget to run a football team, and the whole nation annual budget is 840 million, what do you expect out of that? You tell me the truth. What do you expect out of that? We don't have the money.
So let me,
Mr. Weir.
Yeah, can I? Okay, I know very well that we don't have money, but here is the caveat as well. In spite of that, look at the allotment. For example, our lawmaker made for themselves in terms of salary, to go for vacation, to maintain their transportation, or to maintain certain things. If you were to raise that issue, what they tell you is that we are independent country. Don't compare us to this. So what I'm saying here is this: we should look at the whole situation. It's painful. All of us, you and myself, we here. Liberia is the only thing we have. I'm not saying the government will perform miracles. So we have a system where once we are in power, we want to do things in our name instead of, that's why I can talk about instead of a system doing it. So it doesn't make sense as you are making comparison. I live in North Dakota. I work with the social services here. It doesn't mean I get the same pay that somebody that in Minnesota or in big city. So all the places that here, the cities that here, when you work there, they pay you based on your income that you're bringing in. You can do a business, for example. You can make $15 and go $10 in the club in a night. You go broke. What I'm saying is that how do we utilize our resources? It is. I'm not saying we should manufacture. I'm not saying we should force them, but we need to do things in terms of matching needs. What do we need? And we need to do it with transparency towards that. Now, look, for example, I hear something that the people doing to you about the electricity problem, the feeding the building. But the problem we have basically is that we are not, our government, not the government, is not educating our people based on the mingle resources we having. Or even it will be very interesting. Even if it's going to be a hand pump, for example, the people who are educated how to utilize it because the government does not have the money. Because what I'm saying here, ensure that I'm not trying to talk down Liberia, but we at the same time we're not going to have God to come from heaven to change our country. We ourselves, what do we want? What is the timeline? How do we improve this? Because we can say we are poor, so we will sit down and allow things to happen. No country fall down from heaven rich. Every country struggle, including the United States. But we need to question our system, why it is not working. What can we do? And once we can identify this thing and make improvement, this is what I'm thinking about. This is what I'm thinking and talking. I'm not trying to talk down, but we as Liberians, we can just use it. Oh, we are poor, we are this, but we are poor, but we are buying $45,000, $50,000 car.
Thank you, Mr. Jawinkin. Let me come back to you, Bishop Hagan, and just to further Mr. Jawinkin's point. Before I even get to the issue of you, I don't know when you realize that we don't have enough money in the budget, whether it's now during this administration or the previous administration. But let's not talk about that. Let's talk about a comment you made earlier that we need to challenge the system and not just sing praises to it. Because what I understand from Mr. Jawinkin, his point is that he was trying to challenge the system. He's not saying it's the worst on the continent or in the world. He's saying there are some areas that needs improvement. And when it came to you put the blame strong in Liberian people. Oh, I'm glad you clarified that. You say you're not putting the blame on them, but we as Liberians need to challenge the system. My question to you, Bishop Hagan, personally, how are you challenging the system? What suggestion are you making? Specifically to the issues at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, how are you challenging that system, and how do you think it can be improved?
Well, I do engage with Liberians, and I let them know the resources that were provided first by USAID through the Decentralization Act. They'll build facility for what we call passport, all our vital statistics. I'm not just saying something from Roma, I'm telling you fact. You generally verify what I'm saying. They usually provide $17 million. The evidence are there. They build facility all over. Let our people demand from the stakeholders at the county level that these centers need to be operational, that they tired going to Monrovia for passport, for birth certificate. It's their right. We need to conscientize them. We have to use whatever available resource that we have to conscientize our people. If the facility was built and it's just laying dormant, everybody coming to foreign ministry for passport, what's the essence? Why the USAID have to spend that money? So our people need to make use of those services. Those services. There are places in Liberia, and I say, one time the American ambassador went to Riverside County and told the people, we build high school in Riverside, but you take all your children, you send it to Monrovia. Why should we build high school here when all your children go to Monrovia to go to school? So why should they build a facility when people are not exploiting it? So our people need to understand the facilities are there. They must go there. If it's not working, it is their right to demand that the legislature, the senators, the city mayor, they make sure that these services are provided at the county level. It's their right.
Let me
You
add
journalists, I
something.
call upon you to make investigation what I'm saying. Call the ministry, ask about what I'm saying. If I'm lying, put me on point.
Let me make a point.
Those facilities are there.
Thank you.
Let me make a point.
Mr. Dennis,
Look,
come in.
There is nothing wrong with what Mr. Weah is saying here, but just to generate a crisis for the sake of generating a crisis, it doesn't make any sense to me. Look, the passport issue is not a crisis. I sat through that myself. Like Mr. Boda said, if you don't pay the expedited fee in America, it would take you 3 months to get your passport. This is America we're talking about, 3 to 6 months. We got water crisis in Liberia. We got so many things that we can talk to this government about. The passport one is not one of them. We got people that poo-poo outside. They have nowhere, no facility inside the house. People build zinc houses with no modern toilet system in there. I'm sure this passport business does not trump the fact that somewhere Dubai doesn't have a proper place to poo-poo at. There's things that we can talk to the government about.
How to drink
water. I mean, right now, people when it rains, and it's not going to stop. When it rains next year, people will have to ride canoe to work. These are things that government needs to spend money on. Yes, the government. Everybody think the government $850 million. They don't even have the funds to fund that budget. And you will soon start seeing in the next 2 to 3 months, one minister ain't getting paid, this other minister not getting paid. That $850 million, they don't have no way to fund that entire budget. Can we help this situation? Yes, we can. Do the people need to help? Absolutely. Government is not a person. Government is just an entity. It's not a human being. It's the human being that makes up government.
I'm glad you brought up a point Bishop Hager made earlier that I wanted to bring back up about this budget being too low. This budget being too low. Look at other countries that have budgets that are high or at least average. What are they doing? If a government official cannot manage that budget as small as it is, give them a bigger budget and see what happens.
Oh,
that's a false narrative.
You're wrong. Yes, that's a very false narrative. That's a false narrative.
I haven't even made my point.
You did. You made 1 point already. You made 1 point already.
Allow me to ask the question. The question I want to ask you is, those countries that have bigger budgets, what are they doing? Instead of being here making excuses for the administration having a low budget, and push a cause to show the government ways, or they have good examples right in Africa, in other countries, on how they are increasing their budget. Why isn't our government doing that?
Let me ask you.
I can answer that question.
I want to address.
Are we done with the
Dennis? I'm coming.
Let me hear from Mr. Dennis. I will come back to you.
Okay, go right ahead.
First of all, that is a false narrative. And when you're gonna compare apples to apples, you need to name the specific country that you're talking about that you want to compare to Liberia, because you're trying to compare apples to apples. So when you look at the $840 million budget that Liberia is passing for, most of that money is going towards salary and not services. Those are salary. A few months ago, when they were talking about laying people off and firing people, everybody was complaining. Now you fire the driver. The driver only making $100. So when we start talking about other countries that are doing better, Derek, I need you to don't just use a ghost country. Show me the country, because then I can tell you why that country, if it's in Africa, why it's not even doing better than Liberia, to be honest with you. So show me the country. When you compare apples to apples, let me know the country that's doing better than Liberia in terms of managing its own budget. Because all of African countries, they have to fill in the gaps for their budget. Okay, they're borrowing money as well. So show me the country.
Thank you very much. Let's hear from Bishop Hagar. And just to clarify, something you said in reference to what I said. I did not specifically say countries were doing better than Liberia. My point was you complained about the budget being low. I told you, look at other countries that have a bigger budget than Liberia. How did they get that budget, first of all, and how are they managing it? And you do the comparison, and then maybe you can understand why the budget is low, why it's not increasing. You almost answer your own question. You spend
I wanted you to compare apples to apples. If the government can increase its tax base,
Dennis,
the government has to increase its tax base. That's how you increase the budget. You increase revenues. That's how you increase the budget.
There you go.
I protect you a lot. When I'm making my point, and I protect you to make my point, and then you understand where I'm coming from. You answer your own question. You say over 90% of the budget is being spent on salary. Imagine increasing the budget. You'll still be paying more salary than you actually be doing money with your budget. But that's besides the point. Let me hear from Bishop Hagar, because I don't want this to be an exchange between just the panelists and myself. But let me hear from Bishop Hagar on this, and I'll come to you, Mr. Boda.
Well, I will compare Liberia, my country, to my country of adoption. And you ask the question, why are we not doing well? We have a lot of potential to do well. The war in Liberia, how many years, 20 years, whatever years of war. And you, Jerry, you know that during war, nobody was planting any cash crop. Today, people just start to plant cocoa. Cocoa will take about 7 years before we start to harvest. Ivory Coast, their war. Ivory Coast has a budget of almost $8 billion. Ivory Coast is making nearly $3 billion on the export of cocoa and coffee every year. Their war did not stop the economic activity. Liberia, our war devastated everything. All of our cocoa were left untouched. They were never harvested until they began to spoil. The only people that was harvesting anything was Firestone. How much we getting from rubber? Rubber price plummeted on the world market. They have synthetic rubber. They were not buying rubber. So the iron ore that we have is not in much demand. Metal Steel came with an investment, and then they realized that the iron ore price fell on the world market. They said if we even mine the iron ore, we'll be operating at a loss. So we'll wait until the iron ore price increase. We thought we have oil. We don't have any oil. The oil that they have in Liberia is not of the quantity for export. They have it there, but nobody going to build $250 million reef in the ocean there, and they can't make that money up. So the people said no, they're not going to invest it. So our country, Liberia, what is our future? It's sustain investment in agriculture so that we can unpack. It's not going to happen in 10 years. It's going to happen eventually if our government continue to invest in the agricultural sector. That's the only hope we have. So right now, we cannot even compete with any of our neighboring countries because to start exporting cocoa, you just going to match it. You got to play huge cocoa farming and harvesting. It takes time and it takes a lot of expertise. So, brother, where we are, the government is broke. We need to build our economy by investing in agriculture. For me, in our generation, honestly, we're not going to see anything significantly changing in Liberia. But if the government remain peaceful and invest in agriculture, I can say in the next 15 years, 20 years, we can see economic progress. That's what I want to say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. If anyone want to weigh in on this, if not, let's move on.
Yeah, I want to say something.
Mr. Boda, let me, before I come to you, Mr. Dennis.
Well, the thing is, we keep talking about our budget being small. Budget is based on incremental growth. your economic growth, your activities determine how much you can raise your budget. You can't just sit overnight and say, "Yeah, I'm going to raise $10 billion budget." You have to look at your growth.
And he can't keep
So,
complaining too.
so what is your growth in Liberia? We're not exporting anything. Like everybody all has saying it. We're not exporting anything. We're not doing any meaningful, thing that will stem our economy. Besides revenue, besides the Port of Monrovia and the little that we're doing around, it cannot raise your budget. And budget is just an imagination. You hoping that you will get there. But you have to have that economic growth. What is the economic growth in Liberia that we can talk about as a Liberian? We talk about agriculture. We haven't started making any agricultural move yet. It's just the imagination we're talking about. What do we have in Liberia that we can say we're moving in that path direction that will grow our agricultural sector? There's nothing being done. So I'm sorry, man. Our budget will remain small as it is for a very long time because we don't have the economic growth to grow our budget.
And let's not forget now, we have a president that his background, he has a lot of expertise.
Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. When you start saying that, you get really pissed me off. You get really, really pissed me off. Stop that.
So the man will play, just play one night, everything grow one night.
I know, I'm not just stating my opinion.
Bishop Reeves, you don't see anything?
I'm just listening.
Right.
Let me make a quick point.
This is why, Bishop Hager, this is why you're sold to the Liberian people. I was just put up with him. Have a president that have a lot of experience in agriculture. So don't make that statement say the budget will not grow. The budget will grow and will come from agriculture because we have an expert in that field. But let's hear from you, Mr. Dennis.
So in terms of this current budget and past budgets anyway, most of the money, a lot of that money comes from donor countries. Okay, that's what they use to fill up this budget. But in terms of what Bishop Hager was saying about the Liberian economy, I think Liberia needs to move away from these extractive resources. We can't depend on them. I mean, the world economy is a cartel when it comes to these things. We need to move away from that. And I hate to say this, but what the Indian guy is doing in Liberia by building a factory to do some processing in Liberia for finished material. This is the way we need to build the Liberian economy from the inside, and stop worrying and stop trying to think about agriculture and all these other things. I mean, these things will, it will eventually come, but right now we need to have the factories in Liberia, and you can't have that if you don't have cheap, stable electricity and cheap water. You need those things. If this government does anything for the next 5 or 6 years, they need to figure out how to build the electric capacity around the country and figure out how to get water into this country, because that would bring business. I would love to take the risk in Liberia, but if I go there and know I have to pay more for electricity, I'm not going to do it. So we need to build the economy from the inside out, not with these extractive resources. Thank you.
Thank you, Bishop Reeves. Let's hear from you now. You've been listening to all of the panelists. I want Drake's Bishop Hager question to you. I don't know how long Bishop Hager been realized. I didn't want to go there. I don't know when he been looking at the budget for Liberia. I don't know whether it was just this administration. Has it at some point in time been so high that the country had just enough to solve every problems, and then Waka came, all of a sudden the budget went extremely low that they can't do anything about it? If you can weigh in on that, Bishop Reeves, I would appreciate it, because it kind of seems like
you call my name. If you want me, I can answer that question.
That's why I said I'm dragging a Bishop Hager question to Bishop Reeves. I want to hear from Bishop Reeves on this first. Okay. On the picture you're painting that picture as to if the budget used to be so high and all of a sudden it's extremely low now. So Bishop Reeves, let me hear you weigh on this.
You're trying to drag me into stuff. Look.
That's what I'm doing.
Well, what I would say is that we have not had a proper generational shift. Now, when you hear me talk about generational shift, it means that the issues I'm dealing with is not just this government or the last government or the government before. All right? And because we have not had a proper generational transfer, we realized that I think it was Mr. Weah who said from the beginning that because of how old Liberia is supposed to be the leader in some of these areas, which of course is very, very true. It's very true. Liberia is supposed to be leaders in so many areas, because who headed the UN General Council for 2 decades? It was Liberia. Angie Brooke Randolph. Go and Google it, and you will see it there. Angie Brooke Randolph. So Liberia has been first. Liberia have made impact, and Africa used to look at Liberia as one of the first countries that gained independence to do something. But we are the ones who took our country down. We took our country down, and the generation that was supposed to receive properly, that generation was running all over the place. And that generation was contributing to other places, surviving, all of that. Now, it is that generation that is in Liberia now that is trying to lead and trying to find themselves. Hey, we have a broken system that needs to be fixed. But here's the thing. If you have a government and you have the rest of the people tearing that government down, the issues that we have to solve, we're not going to solve those problems. So if you listen to what I'm trying to articulate here, I'm not just addressing a budget that was so low and now it's become high, or so high and now it's become low. No, I'm addressing the root cause of the things that we're talking about today. If you look at the amount of gold deposit that is in Liberia, you, Bishop Hagar, you will be able to mine the gold that we have in Liberia to your 10th generation. Okay? That's how much gold Liberia is sitting on. And the vein of the gold of Liberia, Grand Jita, River G, Sino, River Ses, and Grand Cru, these 5 counties, we have it there in Liberia. Are you telling me that no government can come together and say, look, we have this much deposit?
Oh, I think he's having. Let me just come over.
Why can't we use this gold so it can become collateral for our country?
I think the Burka government freezing him. The budget low. The budget.
Who's looking at it? So we've not had a proper shift in our country. So there are major things that I can tell you about that.
They froze the internet for him to show them the gold mine.
We changed Liberia overnight. Okay. So I believe that the time is going to come. We will have this discussion, and I'll be ready to break everything down.
Mr. Reeves is having some technical
in pieces, so that we can stop discussing.
Mr. Reeves,
I was just. Yes, sir.
You need data. You need data. You need data.
Yeah, you not go busy. You can't talk about the go busy.
You don't talk about the data running out.
Well, it's like
I wanted to say something to what
Yeah.
Derek said.
Mr. We are. Let's hear from Bishop Hager first.
Okay.
As it,
The
Bishop,
budget
go ahead.
has always been low. It is a fact whether that Unity Party or CDC have maintained the view that what we have as a national budget cannot take Liberia out of poverty. I was totally against the administration of George, but even though they had low budget, but my understanding was this, and I say it with no apology. If you give $100 to an irresponsible man, and he go around mismanaging the $100, and you give that same $100 to a responsible person, and they try to pay their children's school fee, try to manage it, the same money, but two different approach. What we have with the George, we have same budget, low budget, but irresponsible, corrupt, incompetent people. And today, the same $100 has been put in the hand of a competent, patriotic old man who really meant well for the country, and that's the difference. And that's where I stand. The government, their own society. When ministers came here and said, oh, we steal the money, but at least we're building houses in Liberia. At least we are building houses. When the minister admitted that, yes, we are stealing money. In any nation in the world, that is a point for resignation. To be sacked. How can you admit it? Be caught red-handed and say, oh, because we're building houses in Liberia. Other people took money to build houses overseas. Are you killing me? And then people go and applaud that. That government was the most corrupt in Liberian history. And then no more they will come to see presidential power in our country. I rest my case.
Thank you.
Bishop Hager, I think you are politicizing this particular discussion right now. You see, I think you are politicizing it, and I want us to have something fruitful and not to waste our time politicizing any kind of issue right now. Okay, where we're talking about the past government and we're talking about this government. There's a root cause in everything that we're doing, right from the backside of where we're coming from. Okay, there's a root cause. Let's start looking at the root cause. And number one, we need to have a consensus in Liberia that will prioritize education. When we can invest in education, give yourself 10 years from now and see that investment that we're making in 10 years, see the kind of people that we're going to develop within 10 years. Right now, how many mining engineers do we have in our country? How many mining engineers we have in our country? And we have all of the money in our extractive industry. Who's having this conversation? Every government come in, they want to take their part, and they're not looking at the big picture of where we're coming from. So right now, this thing is not, let's not politicize this thing and talk about the previous government or this government or Ellen government. Let's drop all of that thing and talk to the issues of what Liberia is sitting on and what Liberia need to do. Education is number one. I don't care what government is in power, they need to prioritize education.
Thank you. Thank you.
Then we'll begin to see the light of day.
You are totally right. I was responding to the moderator saying to me, when did you discover that the budget is low? And why is it today I'm saying the budget is low? I'm saying it's the same low budget, but who handled the low budget that was the problem? The past government was incompetent, unable to manage even the little one. Now we have the same low budget, but we have competent people ready to do.
Thank you, Bishop Hager. Before I come to you, Mr. Weir, let me recognize the presence of Mr. Sheriff. Mr. Sheriff, welcome to the show. Can you hear me? Let's hear from you, Mr. Jaiwokin Wia.
So, like, I like to add to what Brother Dennis and Bishop said. As I always said, is that like we need to think outside of the box of how do we reach the level of making our resources, natural resources, into finished product. I think that's what Brother Dennis were talking about. The same thing with Bishop Reeves. We talk about all the resources. There is no thought process on the part of the government, not the government alone, Liberia as a whole. Like in the case of Firestone, we can't even produce a plastic bag, but we had a big tunnel there. We got the logs. We can't even make furniture to sell to other countries. Then they go. These things will not just fall from heaven. It requires a government that will think through that. I think I need to train, like Bishop was saying, people that will learn about the wool so that we can produce a number of things, all the kind of stuff. Relying on international community will never solve our problem. We need to think outside the box. It may not be you and myself time, but our generation can put in place a system that other people will build on. That's why I always say, where is the system? I'm not being political, but I'm trying to think beyond me, but to the other people. For president to think beyond himself or herself. But what is the legacy? What can you build on? Like the bishop was saying, do we train engineers? Do we train doctors? We're talking about water, electricity. What is the scholarship? What is the training? Even if we don't get scholarship, what is the training that our Liberian children, because they are so smart. Because the other day when I was in Monrovia, my car broke down. These little children in the street, the way they face that car, if I hear, I will pay $1,000 plus. But our children are smart. The government needs to put in place a system so that the children will fight for something. I believe that what the bishop was saying, if government were to announce that they want to train a number of people, it's not all about the money, but the plan first. What is the plan? If it requires you and me to contribute $20 to our government project in Liberia, one that is defined, we can all do it. I believe that we can do it. We that live outside the country, collectively. If government identify a specific project and say, this is what it will cost, this is the timeline, this is what we have, and this is how we'll do it. I believe that we can contribute $20 towards that. One, it is clear that the money will be used for the intended purpose. Again, government has to put forward the vision. How do we move forward?
Thank you very much, Mr. Jaiwokin Wia. Guys, let's take a break. When we come back, we will get ready into our next conversation. We are going to be here for just a few more minutes, so we'll just get into our last conversation and then a closing remark. But let's take a break first.
Welcome to your new home away from home in the heart of Margibi County, Liberia. This privately owned guest house located at Disco Hill provides a spacious home for vacation rentals, including 3 comfortably decorated bedrooms and 4 bathrooms. Here, we aim to meet the need of every one of our guests. Do you plan on hosting a meeting? Invite your team to our expansive lounging area, which is perfect for conferences. Let our attentive staff help you celebrate life's biggest moments with your loved ones in our spacious indoor and outdoor event area with chairs, tables, and all your event needs. Whether you're visiting home from abroad or right here in Liberia, we're ready to take your call. Welcome home. Call us now to book your reservation at your new home away from home. Celebrating the lives of our dearly departed loved ones is no easy task. That's why you become family the minute you walk through the doors of the Exodus Funeral Chapel. Exodus Funeral Chapel is deeply committed to helping you navigate your way through this difficult time. Our services are reliable, affordable, and professional. Call us, visit our website, or feel free to stop by in person for your consultation. At the Exodus Funeral Chapel, we believe in the dignity of your loved ones. Empathy and respect is the goal of our staff. Exodus Funeral Chapel. Empathy, respect, and dignity.
Jam-packed 30-minute business show designed for you, the entrepreneur, the startup, the small business person who's looking for help, looking for resources to grow their business and get funding. First thing I want to ask you, stop. Before you move forward and start applying for funding, for grants, do you have everything in place?
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and to all of you panelists. We are at the very end of this show, and we came on late, so again, we apologize to all of you viewers for cutting this program really short. We came on late, and it's almost the time for us to get out of here. But before we do that, I want us to talk briefly about what happened involving the former president upon his return to Liberia. And I know you guys follow the story real well. So, former President George Manuel Weah, he was given a hero's welcome by his supporters, and also that development fuels speculation of a political comeback. And just in the wake of that development, the former mayor alleges that the government have obviously, when you follow the development, deployed armed forces there, and the former mayor is alleging that the development at the airport was intended to harm the former president. I know. I just want you guys to give your opinion on that, and then I will ask you guys for your closing remark, and then we will go draw the curtain to this one, and see you guys next Thursday. But let me start with you, Mr. Jawinkin. We give us your take on what happened at the airport on a few days ago.
Okay. There is no question that the former president is a popular figure in Liberia, former footballer of Africa, the world. Moreover, he was our immediate former president, and many people who were enjoying when he was in power, many children that were free to do certain things, they weren't restricted. Now they are restricted in certain ways. They see him as their idol, and that is the African way of seeing things. So if he decides to come back to contest, there is no candidate in the CDC to stop him. He will definitely do so if he wants to. But I think Liberians, we need to move on. We need to think outside the box. We need not to be our entire hope on a single individual. That's what I can say about that. But his popularity, you cannot take it from him. Weah is popular.
Thank you very much. Let's hear from you, Mr. Boda. Give us a take on that development that involves the former president at the airport a few days ago.
All,
Go ahead.
with all due respect to our former president, I think he deserves whatever respect as any leader should have. And he has the prerogative if he wants to run as president. And The LeBron people are the one who will decide as to whether they will want to reinstate him into power based on his past leadership. LeBron people didn't know him at first. They knew him to be a soccer player. He gained the popularity because he played soccer, and a lot of young kids wanted to see themselves in him. And when he became president, I think he didn't show that side of him when he played soccer. When he became famous, he was not a kind of a creative leader. He got dominant, and you see the aftermath of his leadership. He wanted the first president of the Republic to have a leadership that, or many officials were sanctioned for corruption, and he didn't do anything to say, hey, my people have been called for corruption, for mismanagement in public funds. Let me have some investigation done and find out what were alleged against them was true. He kept mute and he left power. And you see all of these things surrounding his people that was in power with him, and they all are sitting around today with sanctions. Their career have been tarnished. They can't move around the world. They can't do anything meaningful because of the stalemate on their heads. And if Mr. George Weah is just trying to be in the corner to show himself, because when he travel around, comes back, and he wants to go through a VIP, whatever, that's the issue of the unit of CDC today. Oh, they didn't get the man passes to pass through VIP. I think that the CDC should, if he wants to be president, he should redefine himself, restructure himself, get involved in some work, community work that he didn't do. I think that would be better for him, but because he come to the airport and he didn't use VIP, and he went rather his troop to come to the airport to create stalemate on instability, he just missed the mark for me personally.
Thank you very much. But let me ask you this question though: was it necessary that the government deployed armed forces at the airport?
Yes, it was necessary in the sense that there was utterances made from people high up from the CDC government who have popularity, who have followers, threatening if this don't happen, they're going to do this. You have to take precautionary measures so that you don't sit and wait when things happen because you say, oh, why the government didn't do this? I think the government was right to try to deploy the rightful authority, that people that will be able to handle the situation when it arises. You cannot wait. Yes.
Thank you. Let's hear from you now, Bishop Hager. Can talk to us on this development that involves the former president.
George Weah is a politician. President George Weah, our ex-president. Even the devil, when he left from heaven, he came down with one tear of angel joining. So George Weah, with all his mismanagement, corruption, he still has considerable number of Liberians who believe he's their leader. And that's the right. That was very, very wonderful that our country has reached to a stage of democratic maturity. So we are not worried about George Weah having his people come. That's their right. Their freedom to assemble, political freedom, freedom of speech to assemble is the right of all Liberians. The only thing the government did, of course, any responsible government, is to deploy measures so that things will not go out of hand. And thank God that nothing escalated. The police, the security, the army was there. Now, if you're having problem because legally, I want to be as honest, the army is not to be used in those kind of a mission. The army is basically to defend the country in terms of war. So when you start deploying the army for peacekeeping, for police work, for me, I think you're being a little too over sensitive. I would encourage the government not to go against the law. The military, the army is not meant for those kind of missions. So there have to be some level of investigation. The police, the number of police people not sufficient. Do we have other people that will come to boost up private security, that will kind of boost up to protect the facility? Because we want to be careful, not just for the Unity Party government, but in the future, we want the role of the army caused a lot of problem in our civil war. We don't want the army to get involved in politics. The army should be neutral. They are there principally to defend the country from foreign aggression, not to be used for eternal peacekeeping initiative. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bishop Hagar. Mr. Sheriff, I don't know if you'll be able to contribute on here, but talk to us about the development involving the former president a few days ago.
Yeah, thank you. And again, I'm sorry that we have to come in this way. Is because, you know, for some reason we are still busy. But again, whenever the opportunity exists, we have to come so that we can sharpen the contradiction, demystify some of the myths that people put out there, and allow the Liberian people to have the opportunity to hear an authentic and the factual information that is on ground. So thank you for, you know, the opportunity. I will want to, in my capacity as Prince Sheriff, condemn the attempted state assassination by the government of Joseph Numa Boyka on the life of His Excellency, President Dr. George Manneh Weah Fomo, on last week, Saturday, at the RRA. This is not something we are taking lightly. We've sent out communications to the relevant, you know, institution and our international partners to look into this issue. We see this as a failed assassination attempt by the Joseph Numa Boyka-led regime. And these are my reasons. One, it is unfortunate, and this is the reason why you see in most African countries, leaders sometimes are very hesitant to democratically do what is prudent. That is by making sure arrange, you know, for election, go there, and whatever the outcome of the result is, when it is announced by a legitimate body, you accept it. It is unfortunate that in most African countries, because of what we are seeing in Liberia, the disrespect to former leaders, the witch hunt, and etc., denying them of an opportunity that is their entitlement. Sometimes leaders look at it for long and say, "Man, will be here because I don't want to move from here before somebody look at me, they go put me in jail and disgrace me and run beyond my family and stuff like that." And these are some of the things that are really creating problem in Africa. And it is unfortunate that those of us who are in the Western world or who have this education will not look beyond our political, maybe jacket or our political scope. This thing that happened in Liberia, it has nothing to do with the CDC. It has all to do with the dignity of people who serve us and the respect that we must give them. The respect we must give them. It's not about, see, let's put CDC one side for at least a minute. Let's put the Unity Party one side. But these are people who serve us. These are people who make sacrifices, however you term them to be. Whether it's, oh, they were this, they were that, they were whatever. But there is some level of, you know, services that was rendered by these people. And so therefore, it is enshrined in the Constitution that they are, you know, eligible for certain opportunities. And today or tomorrow, it could be any one of us here on this platform that may be in similar position. And I think we must be accorded the same privilege and the same opportunity. But what we are seeing in Liberia under Joseph Numa Boyka is scary. It's scary. And these are things that is making our international partner to be afraid, or even investors to be afraid to come in. If the former president of the Republic of Liberia will not be accorded the respect that's supposed to be given to him, then where are we going? Where are we going? A place that was built by this man, he built that particular area. For God in heaven's sake, my people, for God in heaven's sake. What will it take, President? We have to just walk through that thing. They just walk there. I ain't even spending 45 minutes or 1 hour to just walk through it. What are we taking? But again, when you have a government that is so vindictive and is led by a man who said that he would dance with the devil, who compromised integrity and compromised even a Christian moral and ethics, and openly said that he would dance with the devil, that the people who are God people that are supposed to condemn this thing or is supposed to be very concerning to them, that you have a whole bishop, whole deacon dancing with the devil. People who supposed to say no, but this is not. It is unorthodox. It is strange in our Christendom or in whatever dome, whether Muslim dome, Christian dome, or whatever dome. It is strange. We cannot condone this, or let's call him to check. When you get these people saying I'm clapping for him, what do you think will happen? What do you think will happen? Look at what happened. Now, for the armed forces of Liberia to come out, my brother, it sent out a real negative signal for Liberia. I'm afraid that we may experience, if care is not taken, what happened in Guinea, what happened in Mali, Burkina Faso, and other countries around. Because if the chief of staff of the armed forces can tell us that he is not aware, do you know what it takes to bring the army outside? It is army that, yeah, how you call it, susu kro, or like, yes, security, where you get there, say, yalla go, the hell, they say, hey, Paku, we going. Oh, Paku, let us say that, hey, Paku, come and say that. No, that is the national emblem. That is the embodiment of Liberians protection and Liberia protection, to bring these people out and look at how they were well armed. As if maybe they were going for, how you call, external war, or there was a World War III somewhere. And all of these things were planned. These things was intentional. So for the chief of army staff to say, oh, I'm not aware, I don't know. One commander get people, then say people them will go because and the crowd then come us out. There was a mammoth crowd that came us out, and there was this, that. Look, let's be serious for one, and let's be sincere to ourselves. What happened? Send out a negative signal to the Joseph Numa Boyka government, and it will discourage potential investors and good people.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sheriff. Now let's hear from you, Mr. Dennis.
Yeah, man. I don't know what kind of man.
I mean, you know, I mean, when I listen to these people talk, man, you know, there's sensationalism. You know, the military. Listen, I agree with everything Bishop Higa said. If they send the military in, it was wrong. Okay, but CDC people, I mean, a fly can sit on your nose. They will say Joseph Boyka dropped nuclear bomb on somebody's nose. I mean, it just makes no sense. But what happened? But yeah, it's wrong. I mean, if President Weah should be afforded all the respect that he deserves as a former president, he shouldn't feel intimidated when he comes to the country. Now, if the CDC is plotting some kind of thing in Liberia, we all need to be aware too. Liberia is still a vulnerable country. You know, we all need to be aware of what's going on. But it is wrong. But if they sent in the military to welcome George Weah, or as this man Prince Sherry is saying to assassinate the former president, which I don't believe that that's too much to say, but it's wrong. He should not have sent in the military there. George Weah should be able to walk in Liberia peacefully, like Ellen Johnson Sirleaf is walking around. Absolutely, yes.
Well, let me just ask Mr. Prince Sherry, a Liberian, the late Dr. Cassell, a politician, a chairman, president of a political party, brought in the private helicopter. CDC under George Weah refused for a helicopter to land. He went peacefully to the Supreme Court, took the law. The Supreme Court said that the Liberian government wrong. They should allow the helicopter to land on the soil for the men to have access to the helicopter. The government on the CDC denied that the late Dr. Cassell. Disgracing, embarrassing helicopter was kept in Ghana for a number of months until he found out to send the helicopter back. Was that a violation of the right of a Liberian, Mr. Sheriff?
Thank you for the question. The issue is a helicopter in Asa water. Before it can even get in the air or before it can land on any international airport, there are protocols. And these protocols must be followed. in the absence of following this protocol, even motor car, where we can ride, pen, boom, motor car where we can ride. Before it enter another country, there must be legal paper, there must be legal document that will give you the owner the right to say, okay, the car here, I can drive it down there. That way, when you take your car from America, you carry it in Liberia, they don't just take it and just put it on the street. Is it because that American car?
The Supreme Court look at the document and order the
coming, sir.
No, the other one you're talking with no aid.
I'm coming, sir. I'm coming, sir. I'm coming, sir. So the thing is,
the court of the land said, address that issue.
Bishop Vega, you asked Mr. Sheriff the question.
But all that thing he's going around with no other one. He can school all year with no other one. Let him go straight to the point. The Supreme Court made a decision. Why isn't the government implementing that decision?
Thank you.
You said the Supreme Court made that decision. Can you show us the ruling from the Supreme Court? There's something that we can adequately digest for the sake, because when you come and say Supreme Court made that decision, because I follow that case. So if you can display the document for us, then we can go into it. But as far as I'm aware of, the aviation department of the Republic of Liberia had some issues, and those issues that they had were never addressed by Mr. Cassell or maybe by his associate. So for you to come here and say Supreme Court made a decision that the man plea more land or that the man will do that, then we want to see the ruling, and we also want to see the communication from the aviation authority, because in order for a plane to land, not only Supreme Court you can go to. You remember that now. You don't just go to Supreme Court and say Supreme Court my plane coming in more land. No, we have the aviation authority. The aviation authority are close with that particular authority to make sure that whatever the protocol is surrendering that plane in terms of whether it is safe, blah blah blah, and stuff like that, before it can land. So we got to see the communication from the aviation authority and see the Supreme Court ruling. So in the absence of that, you don't come here to give information that is not appropriate or that that is not correct, incoherent information that is not javelin, as the Supreme Court say. Also, they win a Supreme Court and they play, they get a parallel association of Liberia. They got to start this thing here. They really got to start this thing. Hey, Yaka.
Mr. Weah, let's hear from you, and then we'll ask you guys for your closing, and then we'll wrap this thing up.
Yeah, it's what I have to say here.
We're not wrapping.
Basically, like,
what do you mean?
You can see here. I'm going to bring it up to send him.
You gotta bring the
Supreme Court instruct as the Liberian Aviation Authority to be fired. The Supreme Court make a decision. I'm quoting because Mr. Prince will come here and just confuse the Liberian people and lie. This is the news on January 7th, 2022. The Supreme Court of Liberia make a decision that Mr. Cassell met all the rights, all of the protocol to bring his headquarters in the country. And the political decision from the Liberian Aviation Authority was to not allow it because somebody from higher up told them not to allow the man. Why did he?
Is it like you got a political decision? Hey, so you can't simply way I'm talking. Yeah. You can't there.
It's there. The Supreme Court said they look at all the paperwork. They look at all the paperwork, and Liberia was denied to bring to use the airport. Then you want to talk about?
So he was never denied. He was never denied. The point of information, he was never denied. He was asked to do what is legal, what is right, what is appropriate, what is in the interest of him, Liberia, and etc.
Mr. Sherry, what did the Supreme Court do?
Bishop Hager and Mr. Sherry, yeah, let's please protect Mr. Weah. Let him make his contribution. Mr. Weah.
Okay, basically, like it's always two wrongs cannot make it right. Whether Mr. Weah government did it, it doesn't justify anything for the current government to do the same thing.
What did the current government do? They never allowed Weah to come in.
No, I'm coming now. What I'm saying is that, President Weah deserves all the rights, all the privileges as a former president to use a VIP, but it was wrong, as you said, admitted, for you to send military at the airport when former president is coming. He's a former president, and there is no question he's popular. So that's saying a wrong thing that you yourself alluded to. But on the other hand, because the reason why I talk about that, two can make it right is that because
to point of correction, they did not send military we got job. We are coming. That was the same military. That's not no. Point of correction. That was not a reason.
I said that's the signal he sent. That's what I said.
No, that was not a signal. The reason for the military being sent was the obviously people are threatening that are going to be hold up.
Mr.
Boda. Let me correct this issue. We're not going to get litigated down.
Mr. Boda. That was the interpretation for all the seditions.
We're not going by sedition interpretation.
But no matter how you see it, people will look at it that way.
No, you are analyst here, not sedition. Not sedition.
Hello, we had the police. Police should have gone there, not the army. The police is responsible for local situation, not the military, which is a fact. So
depending on the circumstances and the strength of the police, government can decide when to deploy people.
Mr. Boda.
Don't compare everything because no, that's not.
Is it possible that I can come in with my closing because the location and what have you are really appeal.
I'm not thinking about America. Yeah, we can close anyway.
All right.
Sorry, but I was just making an interjection. You can go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to appeal that I come in with my closing and then.
Yes, let's hear from Mr. Sheriff. Let take his closing. And then
all right. Thank you. Earlier on, I think I heard this issue of the budget. People are talking about the budget. You see, when we're talking about the budget under Joseph Newman Boyka, the first thing is people should give credit to His Excellency President Dr. George Manneh Weah Foreman. With the 68 concession agreement, what was our budget? It was far below $600 million. When we had Unmill that was pumping in good money, what was our budget? It was far below $600 million. When we had when we had Liberia that was open to the international community, it was almost like the darling girl for all of the NGOs. What was our budget? It was less than $600 million. At the end of the day, we saw what happened in Liberia with all these companies leaving because they felt that now we're about to have a legitimate government. And since we're operating under Joseph Newman Boyka, who we signed 68 concession agreement under that were all Google, now we'll get Google government coming. So we can stay in this environment. With good government, we have to move from here. And President Weah took over. Let's look at where he left the budget. 700+ million where he left the budget. And at the end of the day, look at what we did. With at least the budget that we had.
No, Mr.
The level.
Are you saying surplus or budget?
The level.
No, Mr. Boda.
I'm saying they say surplus.
The level of development.
Mr. Boda, let's allow.
I'm sorry, you said?
But the man got to be fact checked. You got to fact check the man.
Is he saying surplus or budget?
Mr. Dennis, this is not the part of the show. Let's allow the panelists to close.
Oh, the man should mislead the public?
If you need the rebuttal to anything someone say, you can write it down, and I will give you the opportunity. You can do so.
No, I'm not rebutting. I was just asking. I didn't hear it clear. I was asking if you said surplus or budget. That's not asked. I'm not.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
So at the end of the day, we left the budget at some $700 million. Joseph Newman Boyka came in. Let's see what adjustment they made with the budget. Is it not the same George Weah budget that they carry? Is it not the same? What significant how you call changes they did? So at the end of the day, we must be here appreciating President Weah that in the midst of all of these difficult times, he was able to at least carry our budget on, use our own internal resources, that is the taxes, to build roads, to build hospitals, use his own influence and his connection to be able to do things. Look at just look at where we are. So we
Thank
should
you.
be thanking this man. But
Thank you very much, Mr. Sheriff. Now let's hear from you, Mr. Dennis. Give us a closing.
I disagree with everything Mr. Sheriff just said. I'm not thanking George Weah for nothing. George Weah left the country in dire straits.
You're talking after the men left the call, but go ahead.
But you don't want to say I'm a wit? Ain't you told me to wit? You set me up. You don't want to force me to wit because I want to fact check the man in real time. So
go ahead.
And I'm my father, man, ran away.
Derek, you are controversial.
Mr. Sheriff, Mr. Sheriff reminds me of Donald Trump and the cult.
Exactly.
I mean, that's what he reminds me of. And this thing, hopefully it will go away because Liberia, we need a better country. We need a better country. We don't need cult leaders. We need people who can be held accountable for their actions. Mr. Weah denied there was no assassination attempt. This is now Donald Trump, Republican, creating false narratives here. Okay, but I will close on this. I expect the generation that had nothing to do with George Weah playing football. They were never around when he was playing football. Some of these children never even saw war. These children are the new internet generation. I believe these kids will be a lot better than all of our generations. So we need to corral around them. We need to help them as much as we can because some of us, when we in our 60s, these people they will be in their 20s, and we will need to rely on them if we're going to live in Liberia, hands down. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Dennis. On your behalf, I will ask the production team to screen record this segment of the show and send it to Mr. Sheriff, and he will respond in the next.
No, you know what? No need. Let me say this. I don't want to give any more oxygen to CDC. As far as I'm concerned, CDC is a dying party. I don't want to breathe any more life into CDC. So thank you.
He's going to respond next episode. Let's
I'm not.
Let's hear from you, Mr. Buddha.
Yeah, the unfortunate and sad thing about my brother and friend Sherry is that he just want to be her. And I don't know, budget, is this something that you left? That's what I'm trying to get to him. Budget, if you tell me, say, Joe, we are less surplus for the budget in the economy, then I heard something. The man left for anti-cover for the Liberian people. Suffering masses. And they all left with $1 million in their pocket. They all came with Kasua Bay. Ghana must go Bay. And today they are all wealthy people. But time with George, all of us. And we hope that the Liberian will know tomorrow when the leaders of that country, what he did for them. We shall see the mark after 6 years. So the Liberian people are the judge for the CDC people and the Unity Party. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bishop Hager, let's take you next.
Well, as I said, and I will remain, I'm very persuaded. I'm very excited that the country is in the right direction. Yes, we have challenges like any government in the world. Even the greatest nation with all the money, they still have challenges meeting the needs of their people. What more about a very poor nation? When I say poor, we may have natural resources, our extractive industry have a lot of potential, our land is good, our youthful population, we have a lot of potential for growth. But look at the indicators. They are saying to us right now, if you follow the economic news, China is now having economic challenges. In Europe, all the nations in Europe are having economic challenges. Even in America, they've been talking about this today. Today, the job report that came, 1.8 million people unemployed. We cannot have everybody having a positive impact of the economy. Liberia, we need to do more. I guarantee you we can do better. With Joseph Yuma Boaga commitment, I'm appealing to all Liberians. Let's forget about the politics. You know, when you listen to people like Prince Sharif, you know, I don't even want to talk about Prince Sharif and the CDC. The Liberian people saw that. They told him, we are tired. Go. So we are go. And they voted against him. We have 6 years, and I pray for old man Bouaga every day. God will sustain him to continue to be vibrant, to take the right decision on the Liberian people. In 6 years, we'll have another election. What the result will be on the ground, we can't judge the government right now based on the time. It's too soon. No government in human history has been judged in terms of performance in 5 months, 6 months, 7 months. It never happened. It never happened. So why should we do it for our government? Why should we be judging, analyzing our government? January, we just in July. People saying all kinds of things. There's no way. Even I would say 2017, I said George Weah was not competent. But when he was elected by the Liberian people, I made a video, I put it on, I said, let's give him a chance. I remained quiet. After 3 years, before I came back and said, no, where the country is going, George Weah, I knew he was not going to make it, but he has demonstrated his incompetency. So I'm believing in the next 2 years, we can start making good analysis of Honorable Joseph Bouaga, but not in 6 months, not in 7 months. So I appeal to Liberian people, let's give the government is working. The representative from Grand Judah said it. Say the government is working. Joseph Pena said it. I am in favor of that. We need to let the government work, and we'll see good results. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bishop Hager. Mr. Jawinkin, let's hear from you last.
Okay, thank you. Fellow Liberians, speaking out doesn't interfere with the functions of the government. It is better for you to tell the government your expectation when they take power. Because Article 1 of the Constitution says the purpose of serving government is for the security and satisfaction of the people. So there is an expectation if you hire somebody. So it is that expectation that is what some of what we're talking about. We need at least timeline. We need clarity as to where we are going. What is the problem the government identify? Why is it we are where we are today? That communication, that's what Liberian people need. What are you going to do? What is the problem? How can we change, for example, make sure that we get water supply to Monrovia, which is the capital city, electricity. What is the process? How much it will cost? And what is government doing about it? What is the government expecting from the citizens of Liberia, abroad and at home? What can we all do? That has to be communicated in clear terms. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Jawinkin Weah, and to all of you panelists tonight for your contribution here on episode 5. And to you viewers, thank you.
Derek.
Yes.
Every time we have a conversation, you always mention the 45 years experience of Joseph Yoman Bouaga. So are you saying if a doctor having a 45-year experience in the medical profession, he can heal all the diseases and solve all the problems? Is that a narrative you're trying to give us because you have 45 years experience is to solve all the problems? I keep hearing this and really activate my spirit.
That question and other questions will be answered on the next episode. But this is the end of the show. If you wanted to talk, since the aggravated, so I would love to bring it back up on the next episode. But to those of you that still with us or that are always here with us, thank you so much for being with us. This is
just for the fun, Edouard Balladois was the Prime Minister of France, the best economy in Europe, one of the best in the world. he left front into
Bishop Hager,
depression.
do you want to talk about this?
No.
Do you
Listen.
want to talk about? Do you really want to talk about this now?
No. It's okay.
It's the. I would just say this very briefly and then end the show. This is not about so much about his experience. Okay, this is what you're told in Liberian people. This is why because sometimes you say, "Oh, it's just politics, it's campaign time. You can just say anything." We are told the Liberian political man has so much experience that he can undo all these things President William, he can undo or fix things that President William wasn't doing or doing.
Where is Reverend Addy?
Right.
Reverend Addy.
Things to the Liberian people, but today when we remind you of what you said yesterday, then all of a sudden it activates your soul.
Where is Reverend Addy?
About your experience.
But Derek.
I remember Bishop Hager, Mr. Boda, Reverend Addy, I was
I'm still here. I ain't going nowhere yet, though. I'm still here. I ain't run away yet.
I'm sorry, but Bishop Hager want to have this conversation. Like,
we'll have it. The old man is doing what he's supposed to do, though.
Platform, y'all saw this man credential. Today, when they bring it up, then y'all say, hey, Aquavia, when?
Do you expect to build a road overnight?
That's the narrative y'all saw to the Liberian people.
But the man is structuring the country. You see, he putting things in place, perspective.
No, but in the meantime,
so what you want him to do? You want him to just you want to build road overnight?
Mr. Boda, this is things that were said. These are things that were said. Just
he has an experience. That's why he's trying to change the structure.
That would just reminding Bishop Hager. And you say they didn't get the experience.
Yeah, but he's you
Derek,
see, although you're not doing anything.
Derek,
That's the argument.
Derek, let's put politics aside. Derek,
let's end the show.
Derek, let me ask you a question. Let's say from God-fed truth.
Let's say
this. If George Weah had won the election in Liberia in a better place.
Let's end the show.
So answer my question. Thank God he did not win that election.
Let's talk about that in the back. And I asked the question. Yeah, I don't answer questions. Anyways, guys, it was nice being here today. We'll be here next week, Thursday, same time.
Thank you, Derek. We'll talk about that next week.
Thank you, guys.
We'll talk about that next week.
Bishop, how you doing there?
Good night, folks.
Thank you.
All right.
I do it for the boy. It's weapon I beat. I do it for the boy. I see the poppin', I do it for the boy. I see the woman, I do it for the boy. I see the poppin', I do it for the boy. I see the woman, I do it for the boy. I see the poppin', I do it for the boy. I see the woman, I do it for the boy. All the people wishing me bad, get them away. All the people wishing my downfall, get them slow way. Get them away. Baba people, get us slow way. Yeah. You swat destroy your plans. We get people, clip or destroy your plans. I send them fire, yeah. Spread them holy water, yeah. Enemies in my family,